Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to see 11 tips to specifically prepare for virtual instructor-led training. I've learned these tips over the past year and a half at my organization, exclusively training remotely due to the pandemic. We started with online delivery almost from scratch. We made a lot of mistakes and we learned from these mistakes the tips we'll review today. Let's go for it. First tip, prepare and use countdown breaks instead of scheduled breaks. Instead of trying to end an activity at a specific time and then send people into break, just stop whenever suitable and use a timer for people to come back on time after the break. For instance, you can stop at 10:34 a.m. and ask everyone to be back there at 10:49 a.m. precisely, using a timer on PowerPoint that would remind them 1 minute before that the time is off. Using this kind of individual times will force people to mind the break duration and come back on time. Second tip on the list, follow a flexible schedule with multiple action paths. You need to be very well prepared for an online course, as it's more difficult to improvise an activity if you are off your schedule than during an in-classroom event. What I personally do is rehearsing each part of the training separately and note how much time all parts would take. I identify the most important parts, I also identify the less important ones, and I always look for additional exercises or additional information I could include in my training if needed. That way I can adapt to the live conditions. If I get many questions, I will focus on delivering the most important parts, while if I am delivering too quickly and I get only a few questions, I could propose additional exercises. Third tip, keep it simple. Your online tool, whether it's Cisco WebEx, Zoom, MS Teams, GoToWebinar, or any other solution, enables some features, but certainly hasn't all the features that you would wish. My advice is, cope with that. Use only the tools available with the platform, because when you are delivering, you should only fully focus on your content and enabling delegates to learn together. You should not be thinking about the technological side. For instance, when we began with training online, we used OBS Studio together with Zoom in order to display several videos at the same time via the same account. That setup is very complicated to manage alone while you have to train, and it led to a lot of breaks in the pace of our online training and a lot of time wasted dedicated to fixing the technology side issues instead of focusing on the delegates. So don't overcomplicate things by using another software. Limit yourself to the functionalities of the tools you already have. Next tip on our list, close all windows and applications not related to the training before the virtual event starts. When delivering an online training, you have to share media and sometimes switch between different media. Your attendants should not see the OJA projects open on your desktop that you are working on. I learned this one the hard way. One day during a customer training, I had a service bulletin open on my mailbox dealing with a product quality issue that was clearly confidential, and the customers saw it only 2 seconds while I was switching applications, but it stirred their curiosity and it was very difficult for me to bring them to focus back on the training topic. As well, the less windows you have simultaneously open, the less time it will take you to switch between the right windows, improving the pace of your training. Fifth tip, prepare and use a camera background, or at least blur your background. You don't want your delegates to see external activities in your background, whether it's a family member at home going to the toilet or a colleague at work passing behind you. If your attendees see someone or something moving in the background, it will for sure disturb your delegates' attention. And it might also disturb you once you notice it, because you would need to temporarily interrupt the event in order to intervene and remove the background motion. On top, a well-designed camera background will increase your professionalism, and it's the right place to put a slogan, an advert, or maybe just your company logo. Tip number 6, mind your image. Be careful about your lighting. It's important you are well lit, not too dark, and with no big difference of brightness between both sides of your face. If you are showing at one point a product demo or a part of a room, it should also be well and evenly lit. Make sure that you are well positioned on the video. You should be horizontally centered, vertically your head should be in the upper half, and ideally your eyes are at around 2/3 of the total video height. What is also important is to have the webcam in front of you. Not too high because we don't want to see the top of your head, but also not too low because what's in your nostrils is only your business. So place your computer, webcam or phone in front at high level and not directly on your knees. Now on to the 7th step. Use a superior quality webcam or phone for the video input. That's especially true if you will increase the size of your video at some point during your online session and use it to show a product demonstration or anything that will require an improved video quality. I made a video explaining how to use your phone as camera on MS Teams that will be shown at the end of this video. One thing though, if you are using a background on the online platform, check the compatibility between the camera input and the background first. Tip number 8. Get support for your event. Bringing colleagues or partners to intervene during one of your events can have multiple advantages. First, one person could, for example, support you with the Q&A and make sure that the attendees see the right media. Second possibility, another person could start off the event on your behalf and introduce you to increase your credibility. Third instance, a subject matter expert could intervene during the event on a specific topic and reinforce your message. In an online session, that doesn't take much of their time after all, and you even don't have to be at the same place. But this will really reinforce the idea that you are the right person to deliver this training. Going on with tip number 9. Pace your training with frequent interaction phases. In all sources I came across, it is recommended to have content parts of maximum 20 minutes, followed by 5 minutes of interactions. By content, I mean lecturing parts, group exercises, discussions, reflection moments, as well as experimentation times, the best being to alternate between all these delivery modes. From my experience, during lecturing parts, it's not a problem at all interacting more frequently with the delegates. 20 minutes without interaction sometimes seem very long from an attendee perspective. What we absolutely want to avoid is 45 minutes straight of presentation followed by 15 minutes of question, which is more or less the norm today. Tip number 10. We are almost there. You should care about before and after the event. It is very important that your audience gets well prepared for the event. They should have received all the necessary information to log in on time. You could send them as well in advance some documentation to read or preliminary exercises or research to perform before the event. The thing is, you want to have your attendees estimating they were well informed and prepared and avoid getting questions from individuals that will waste your time, which would be better spent informing the whole group all at once. Then, after the training event, it is important to remember all is not yet over. You have to give a long-lasting impression, which will be easier to ensure with a short follow-up of a few days after the event with some additional interesting content, maybe a link to register to the next event with a special offer, a thank you for attending, and an overall positive message. If there was a certification involved at some point, emphasize on the great achievement it represents to have successfully passed this certification. This is the last action you can take as a facilitator to make your attendees smile, so don't mess that up. Alright, tip number 11, and certainly the most important. Record yourself and analyze your behavior. There is a lot to learn during rehearsals, so grab this opportunity to record yourself as well as during live events. You can then analyze your voice pace, if you are using filler sounds, if you should include more pauses when you talk, if you sound persuasive and passionate, but also look at your delegates, at their facial expressions, at their reactions to determine how they perceive the way you facilitate the training. You will see that by watching your recording, you will very easily spot details to improve, things that you can't find out when you are fully focused when delivering the training live. Great! That was it for the 11 tips for preparing online training I wanted to share with you, which are the most important based on the experience I gathered while teaching. I hope it will help you to improve your training delivery. It is definitely possible to get a lot better by focusing on the right aspects. So follow the 11 steps, practice, be confident about your content, about your planning, and about the technology you use. Keep a glass of water close on your desk to rehydrate from time to time, and I wish you a lot of success during your next online training session. See you soon.